Welcome to the Jaguar Podcast, a show where we discuss all things related to Duval County's finest NFL football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
42, set, play!
Duval, baby! What's up, everybody? It's Andrew from the Jaguar Podcast, and today I will be having a discussion with Jacksonville Jaguars tight end Dan Arnold. Dan Arnold attended the University of Wisconsin, Plantville. He played football there, and then after that, he went undrafted, but then earned a spot with the New Orleans Saints and played for a couple of other teams too, the Arizona Cardinals, the Carolina Panthers, and then joined the Jaguars in 2021 from a trade with the Carolina Panthers. He has a career 86 receptions, 1,123 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Give it up for tight end Dan Arnold. What's up, Dan? Thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure being on with you. So,
Dan, I know you had that injury in Week 12 against the Falcons. I believe it was a strained MCL. Have you been able to, how's your recovery been going? Have you been able to participate in Veterans Minicamp?
Yeah. So I was actually cleared to return at the end of the season last year, right before the last game. And, rehab went well. It was a 4 to 6 week kind of injury. And so they put me on the return to play list at the end of the year last year. So I was actually cleared before the season even ended, but they decided they, didn't want to use me for the last week. I went out there and practiced, and I was like, hey, if you guys want me to play, want me to go, I'm here for it. But they just decided, we'll play it safe. It's the last game of the season. Other than that, OTAs have been great. It feels awesome, and it's ready to go. Pretty much, better than what it was before. So that's usually how rehab kind of goes.
Nice. Yeah. I'm glad, they played it safe, and now, you're feeling good and you're back in mini camp. So that's awesome. I was looking into your background, and I know you played, you played football over at University of Wisconsin, Plantville. It's a D3 school. And then, you come out undrafted, but then you earn that roster spot with New Orleans. It's an amazing story. Can you kind of walk me through that, like how that transpired and what kept you kind of going to get that spot?
Yeah. I came in as a receiver. That's what I played in college. And, just coming from a small school, it's always tough getting drafted regardless. But, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter where you're drafted or where you come from, as long as you can come in and make plays, and those opportunities that you get in the preseason and throughout training camp, you make the best of them, and if you can play, you can play. That's something I think Coach Payton has had success in New Orleans in the past. I mean, you look at the undrafted guys that have played under him; he doesn't really care if the guy's gonna ball out for him, he's gonna play him. So I was lucky to be able to get a shot at New Orleans. I ended up tearing my shoulder my rookie year, so I was able to just kind of sit in the meeting room throughout the entire year and just be there and learn football. Because coming from a Division III school, we didn't really have a lot of complexity to the offense. Not anything like, especially Coach Payton offense. So I just got to sit and learn football at the highest level, and I think that really ended up helping me out in the long run. And then my second year in the league, came in the summer of OTAs, and Coach Campbell, who was a tight end coach in New Orleans, who's now with the Lions, he approached me. He's like, hey, you're a really good athlete. You can move around in space. I think your best shot, if you want to make this team, is to switch to tight end. And of course, I looked him in the face and I was like, if you're telling me my best chance is to be a long snapper or do anything in the NFL, I'm going to do it. So that was kind of how I handled it. I was like, I was ready for the challenge. But I was just I was more lucky than most people because I had Coach Campbell with me in New Orleans, that I was able to learn from him and how patient he was with me. And just surrounded by good vets. You know, Josh Hill is a guy who kind of flies under the radar his whole career, but he is a pro's pro. He truly is. And I have the greatest, utmost respect for him. And just being able to sit and learn from him every day was awesome. Whether it was intentional on his end, whether he was thinking he was, you know, teaching me, but just watching the way he carried about his business day in and day out is something that I try to emulate now. And I didn't really realize how much I took it for granted until I got older in the league and realized like how much I had really learned from him. So yeah, you know, I had a lot of luck coming from the small school, coming from Division III, but you know, just making the best of the opportunities that you had, and you know, being able to watch vets and learn from them and just soak it all in, and that's what carries you on for a longer career than usual in the NFL.
And I was doing a little bit of research on you, and I know that I found that you were a two-sport athlete, right? I mean, you did track and field too for Wisconsin Platteville.
Yeah, I ran hurdles after my freshman year. I didn't run track, and then my sophomore year, I was like, you know what, I really need to change of pace. I wasn't having success on the football field like I'd like, so I was like, you know what, let me just go back and do track and you know get some speed and help kind of just have, you know, I ended up going to nationals that year for Division III, and it just kind of sparked me to push me even further in my collegiate career, and to really start making me push. And it's like, you know, if you want to be a game player and a game maker and, you know, all those things, you got to just compete at the highest level day in and day out, no matter what you're doing. So I really, really appreciate doing track because it got me back to that mindset where I could just be a competitor, you know, and just kick ass no matter where I'm at.
Nice. I mean, that's really impressive, man, being a two-sport athlete and then, you know, making your way into the NFL. I mean, it's really impressive. Coach Campbell too. I mean, I've watched some player interviews. They just have the utmost respect for him. And, you know, he's leading the charge over in Detroit, who I believe the Jags will be playing. So you'll be able to talk to him after the game, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You played for some great coach. I mean, you mentioned Sean Payton, Super Bowl winning coach, and now you have Doug Peterson, who's also a Super Bowl winning coach. You know, you'll be playing for two Super Bowl winning coaches. That's pretty crazy. Are you excited?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the coolest thing is you see the change of like mentality as soon as we got in day one of OTAs, and how much it just felt, the atmosphere was like, you know, we kind of weathered the storm last year. Obviously things didn't go the way we wanted them to go. And I think the guys are just looking for somebody to come in and just show some leadership, somebody who's been there before. And it was like, hey guys, look, I watched tape of you guys last year and you guys competed your ass off. And that's pretty much what Doug said. It was like, I'm going to help get you there, and I'm going to do everything in my power because my job is to make you guys successful. And I think from that moment on, right at that first meeting that we had with them, everybody was like, all right, it's go time. And I think when you do really look at the locker room that we have in Jacksonville, it's like, why aren't we winning games? And we have such a talented roster, and we have the ability to just go out and take the league by storm. And, you know, I think that's kind of the mindset right now, where it's like, who cares if we're like rebuilding the program, rebuilding phase, like got a new coach this year, you know, had a brand new coach last year, yada, yada, yada. No, we're going to go in and we're going to compete every single game, and we know we're going to have the scheme to do it, and we're going to surprise some people this year. I guarantee it, because there's no way that this talented of a roster should be losing games. There's just no way.
Yeah, I agree, man. You guys, I think a lot of people are unfortunately sleeping on you guys, but I think they're going to be really surprised. Like you said, I think Doug's, you know, he's got great energy, and he's bringing a lot of positivity and focus into that locker room. So I'm excited for it, man. You know, I wanted to talk a little bit about, you know, New Orleans again. When you were playing there, you know, you worked with Drew Brees, obviously amazing quarterback, amazing talent. What was it like working with him, and what did you learn from him?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you look back and when you see Drew on a day-to-day basis in the facility is just his preparation, and what it took to be successful week in and week out and always be winning those games that came down to, one possession. And the amount of attention to detail that you really truly have to have in a practice all throughout the week, and then once you get to the game, is incredible. And Drew is really a master of that. And he forced guys to be put in that position where, even in training camp, like, hey, we have to have this detail like now. And like that's gonna be the difference. You don't know when that difference is gonna come. You don't know what game it's gonna be, but if you can do it right now in practice, it's gonna help us when we get to the season. And just the leadership that he showed with all of that, and he's he's in the facility for long hours and watching film. It's kind of funny. It was in New Orleans, the quarterback room was kind of the unspoken tight end room as well. So we had our tight end room, which had the tight end nameplate, right in front of the door that said this is where the tight ends meet. But you walk in there at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're going to watch film, and there's Drew with all the quarterbacks watching film in your room, just because we didn't have a quarterback room for some reason, because they just either go up to Pete's office or something, or somewhere else to go watch film. So it's kind of funny, but you just see the amount of time that he spends in the film room just watching. 5:30 in the morning he's there, and then when we're all done with our day, 6 o'clock after we all ate dinner, he's still in there, like just taking care of business. No detail was missed with him, and that's truly a generational quarterback, and it speaks volumes as to like all of the success that he had in his career, because he was a different breed of human being. His mind worked in football ways that 99.9% of guys just wouldn't be able to comprehend. And it was truly, truly like awe-inspiring to be able to watch that day in and day out and just be like, wow, holy cow, this is greatness. Just seeing it every day. So it was cool. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, I mean, that's got to be just being able to sit there, and I imagine his focus and his hard work ethic is just contagious. So that's awesome, man. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about your involvement with a organization called Gigi's Playhouse. It is a nonprofit organization that provides career development for individuals who have Down syndrome. I think it's a great cause. I was just kind of curious and wanted to know what your level of involvement was with the organization and some of the projects you're working on.
Yeah. So my wife Morgan, one of her best friends from college, her cousin is involved with the Gigi's Playhouse in the Quad Cities, and that's like Iowa, Illinois border is where the Quad Cities are. And so we got connected with them from her brother who wanted to do some stuff. And so this year last year, we decided to do the My Cause, My Cleats at Gigi's. And so we had her brother's daughter, Zoe, goes to Gigi's and is pretty involved with Gigi's. And we had her design the shoes, like we had her like make a drawing, and then the artist was able to replicate her drawing and put it on my shoes for the My Cause My Cleats. And they're going to auction it off in their gala for it's like their annual gala for the Gigi's Playhouse, and that's in sometime in the fall. I think it's in October, I believe. So they're going to auction off the cleats, and then the proceeds will go to the Gigi's fund. But yeah, we've gone for they do a 5K every year kind of during this time. So we were just there a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like the Quad Cities, this big fundraiser event for that, and then they do like some raffle off and stuff like that. And just being able to spend time with the kids, and just seeing, the joy on parents' face when all of them are together, and, being able to just be there for them and take pictures and, Of course, Zoe loves my wife way more than she loves me, but that's all right. Yeah, no, I think, Brian is Zoe's dad, and just seeing the joy on his face. And when we had talked about this whole idea of having her design the cleats, it was just the way that it impacted him is something it's so cool that I'm in the position because I'm playing in the NFL and I have the grace to play in the NFL that I can give back in that way and really affect people's lives for the better. It's something that's, you never get tired of being able to do that for somebody, and you never get bored of it. And just seeing the true emotion on people's face when you're able to do that is incredible.
Well, hey, man, absolutely. I mean, kudos to you and your wife. I mean, you're doing amazing work, and it's just amazing. You mentioned we were talking about Drew Brees and leadership. And it kind of made me think of Trevor Lawrence, and you guys had a really good connection last year. There were some great games there in Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Miami, to name a few. And, I was just kind of curious, do you see, based off of last season, do you see a bright future for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville?
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about those guys, that have that attention to detail and that preparation. And Trevor is definitely one of those guys where you see those glimpses of Drew Brees-esque type characteristics. And that's when it's like, okay, this kid's he's going to be good. And no matter what circumstance he's in, he's going to be able to perform and just make the best out of it. So, yeah, I think really the sky is the limit for Trevor. He's got all the intangibles. I mean, look at him. He's a generational type quarterback just looking at him. He's tall. He's got a good arm. He's accurate. He's smart, and he can read defenses better than a lot of rookie quarterbacks that I've seen and been in camps with. And just to see that level last year already, I was like, holy cow, this is actually kind of crazy. He's sitting in meetings talking with the line, like, hey, this is what I'm going to do with the protection here because, we're seeing, a slot nickel pressure from this side. So I'm going to do this when we have this look. And you just don't see a lot of younger quarterbacks have that ability to, like, talk to an offensive line, a center who's been in the league for X number of years, and like he's telling them, hey, this is what we're doing. So it's pretty cool to see Trevor at that level already, and then you just know it's like it's coming.
Yeah.
Whether it be 2 years, whether it be another 4, like it's coming. He's gonna be really good. Just let him do his work, and he'll be there. He'll be there. So
yeah, that's good to hear, man. I'm really excited to see you guys next year and see how you and Trevor do on the field. I want to close out with one last question. What advice, Dan, do you have to a young athlete who's aspiring to play in the NFL?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I would say the biggest thing that I struggled with was holding on to every single little play that happened. I got in my head all the time. I didn't make the catch that I wanted to make a catch, and I let myself down, and I just would hold on to it all the time. But the NFL is truly a mental game, and if you can push past that and just be like, okay, I'm going to be where my feet are, and not think about all the negatives, not think about all the positives, just think about what I am doing in this moment right now and be able to push everything out. That's how you can be the most free player that you're going to be. And that's something I didn't really learn until, last year, the year before. And early on in my career, I just, I was trapped in my own brain, and in the mental aspect of it, I was just locked. And then I would let one play trickle down and affect all of the other plays that were going to happen after. So yeah, that would be my biggest thing is finding that like guys like to call it the Mamba mentality, where Kobe would be in that moment and he wouldn't let anything else. He's like, why would I let that shot that I missed affect the shot that I'm going to take next? And just kind of that mindset is really how you be the best player and aspire to the greatest player that you're going to have the ability to be. So yeah, that would kind of be my best point that I would say to a young guy.
Well, I think that's great advice, Dan, and thank you so much for taking the time again to come on the show. I really appreciate it, man. It's been a blast talking to you. Excited you're back at full strength, and really excited to see what you can do this upcoming season, man. I'll be rooting for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate spending the time to talk to you, and yeah, it's always fun to be able to give some advice to these young guys and go back to the glory days.
Great. All right, it's Dan Arnold, everybody, and we don't forget to subscribe to the channel Jaguar Podcast and FL Teams, and we will see you next time.
Let me get that. JYD coming up with the big sack. Quarterbacks beware, we on the prowl. Game day night, you could hear it in our growl. Intimidation on to keep their hearts racing. Eating other teams live on TV front of the nation. Spectacular defensive scheme.
This episode is available on the Jaguar Podcast YouTube channel. So if you stop by, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like. Also, these episodes are available on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and other major podcast distributors as well. So if you don't mind, please leave me a review and some feedback. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to connect with me on social media, my Twitter handle is @JagwarPodcast. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. This is Andrew signing off. Cheers.